So we get a bit of everything. Walk me through what you want to see, because I expect that we will see a very different draft.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the plan is if IG are going to ban away the Ryze, because Ryze first pick, yeah, would be pretty strong. Then we kind of go back to bog standard, right? Jinx is probably going to be taken for JackeyLove. You see the Aphelios coming in the opposite side. Maybe we see the Hecarim again here for Shun. Nautilus probably pretty high priority in this draft as well. So let's see what the plan is. That's not the first pick.
Oh, not anymore. Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Dagda, let's just sit here. Then suddenly we get Urgot first pick. Gwen's a big one as well, though. Gwen normally banned away on the red side. JackeyLove going to get the Jinx. Okay, they know that IG probably just going to take Gwen, which is too OP to miss.
Yeah, the problem is, though, like, there's so many counter picks there at the moment. I know Kylie's banned away, but the Jayce still being up and available for Wayward. You've already got the long range of the Jinx. It feels like taking a blind pick Gwen is just a really bad idea for IG, especially when you can still go towards, like, something like the Orianna, you know, something like the Twisted Fate for Yuekai in the mid. Like, take that for a blind pick. Even like something like the LeBlanc for Yuekai as well isn't a terrible pick. Rather than needing to, like, hard force this Gwen into your composition.
Well, maybe we go down a jungle path, because things like the Xin Zhao still open and available. Jungle's been moving away from it. The Viego picked up by Tian in game number 1. Shun also has the Hecarim here, Dagda, so instead, no, we get the Gwen picked up, and it means that jungle pick is going to be left open to top esports.
Yeah, so if I'm top esports here, I take the Jayce, make sure that you're able to have that counter pick for Wayward. You probably take your jungler here as well, and there's plenty of supports that are left up and available. And then you put the pressure onto IG, right? It's like, hey, look, do you take your support? Do you take your jungler? Otherwise, for top esports, you can always look towards something like the Tahm Kench. You don't necessarily need to have your big engage tool here when you can take the Hecarim. So you then go, right, like, you take the Nautilus away, you take away the Leona, and then on top esports side, you're like, we're still happy to take Tahm Kench, maybe even something like a Braum, something that just makes it a little bit more difficult for IG to function. But we are going to get the MC Hammer front line with the Gwen and the Xin Zhao, and this makes it a little bit difficult for the Jayce and the Jinx.
Yeah, so make it interesting to kind of just see if they can get any of their damage off before ultis, before W's come through. We've talked about that quite a lot on broadcast, and a nice little tidbit here, Dagda. So we get into the second ban phase, and I need you to walk me through supports, because when Lucas and Mark played a pretty pivotal role, and yes, I mean that from Mark's angle as well, it feels like support bans need to come through.
Yeah, and I mean, for top esports, Nautilus, Leona, those are the two big ones that I'm looking at. This, like, the front line that you're operating with the Gwen and the Xin Zhao is very, very good at denying the long range damage on top esports. But one of the big things that lacks is engage. So you really need to end up pairing it with something like the Leona. I mean, Rakan fits that same boat, but like Nautilus, Leona, Rakan, all these things that can get that guaranteed engage tool. I think the Nautilus is probably the best of that bad bunch for you to leave open here as top esports, just because super long range engage with the solo flare, like AoE as well. So like maybe you can catch multiple people with that, which makes it a little bit more hard, or a little bit harder to deal with, whereas it's single target and with the Nautilus, so oftentimes that can be blocked by something like the Hecarim, or at least kind of like counteracted by that.
We only get one, so Leona, Nautilus, they're gonna have the pick of the litter, and then the counter pick towards mid if they want Dagda. Yuekai was a pretty big Ari in game number 1, but it's been banned away. Things like the Victor Zoe as well, they've started targeting Knight's champion pool, which is off the face of the planet. We get a Vex final ban as well up against Yuekai, so curious to see the direction here for IG.
Yeah, I think like Leona, Nautilus probably just going to be your pick here, and you leave that counter pick in the mid for Yuekai. And my biggest worry here is that for IG, you've got the opportunity to go back towards something like the Twisted Fate if you wanted to. So I was going to say, I think top esports probably go towards something like the Orianna, like round out this really nice kind of long range damage, good engage, good wombo with the Orianna ult to follow up on the Hecarim. But with this LeBlanc locked in, maybe we just see Knight go back towards the Syndra. Works pretty well against the LeBlanc and can make it a little bit more difficult for the LeBlanc to enact the control that she wants, and can be relatively good at just like placing down many of these dark spheres. So trying to operate in this fight for win can be pretty tough.
I like that range advantage as well to get there, Dagda. For Knight, Syndra is such a great champion for him. We don't have a setup Nautilus, but we do have a Renata Glasc down in that bottom lane. That's what I want to see here from Mark, especially since the Nautilus in game 1 was just atrocious, Dagda. Let's be real. So a different direction here for top esports into game 2.
I mean, the Renata's going to do really well against IG. As we said, like, super short range. The only thing is that I worry about whenever I see Renata, quite squishy in the lane phase. So there is always the option to try and look for these, like, super aggressive plays down towards the bottom side. Top Esports, though, we talked about the Syndra already. Works very well against LeBlanc and just fits into, you know, as you were saying, the range Hysterics, but just, like, the ability to make these fights, like, super difficult for IG to kind of operate in. Now, we'll have to see what Lucas decides to go for. Leona would be the big one for me. I actually don't like the Galio. I don't think he gives you enough engage tools, but yeah, Leona, Rel fits the same boat as well. Just big AoE engage is what I'm looking for.
Okay, so we get the Leona you talked about. Dagda, round me up here. IG have a lot of negation towards top esports comp, but I want you to give it to me plain and simple.
Yeah, top esports, ton of range, ability to counteract the dive that IG, or at least the short range that IG are trying to go for with the Renata Glasc. And then you got their own engage tool with Tian. He just flings himself in, gets these fights started. Good follow-up then from the likes of Knight, even Mark, just there to make sure that Tian can stay alive. On IG's side, you have the opportunity to try and play through sides if you want to with the Gwen and LeBlanc. Just being able to have that mobility in the LeBlanc means she can try and find these flank opportunities. But it feels very much like their team fight relies on Lucas. Like Lucas finding these big engages onto the backline or the squishy members of top esports to actually set themselves up for a good.
I mean, he had a great game one, so I'm putting a lot of faith here in Lucas to support Diff, at least at the start of this series. Top esports, again, I said this in the last series that we opened up with. It was Wayward versus RA, and you might recall me saying, well, Wayward were favored. Game one, I said that. Game two, I even said, they should still be favored. Then RA beat them senseless 2-0. We're into game two where IG have opened up quite easily against Top Esports. Top Esports, a team that's 9-4. They're secured in playoffs, but if they lose this series, it's going to make it that much harder for them to continue their 7-win streak. But importantly enough, lock in top 4 in playoffs, which helps them skip a series or two. Dagda, as we run on into this one, TES have been outclassed, but they have not been outmatched yet. IG, with a revamped roster, have done so much work, but they have to get it across the finish line here in game number 2. It comes down to it as we swap sides and we get some pretty symbolic picks. A Knight on Syndra, the biggest one, Dagda, to open up here. This is the pick he won game 5 on for Top Esports when they won their grand final.
For IG, though, it feels like this is going to be a lot more difficult to try and manage. You have 3 losing lanes now, and you pretty much got counterpicked in both your solo lanes, and as well, JackeyLove being able to lock in the Jinx alongside that range support means for IG, you're going to be on the back foot from the get-go. So as long as Tian is kind of playing this a little bit safer than he did in the last game and not giving a bunch of kills to Yuekai, it feels like for top esports, it's just kind of let the lanes enact their own will. Let them play out as they need to. And for Tian, just trying to match or at least keep control of Shun in the early stages will do wonders for top esports.
I mean, Shun in game number 1, you said it yourself, had a really good jungle game. It feels like he's robbed a little bit as Yuekai got the glory, but Shun definitely brought his A game to start off this series. So, again, the jungler who's starting up towards top side, as you can see on your map, we need to see him continue that momentum because game number 2 is going to be a little bit about what Tian can do here on this Hecarim. And Dagda, he's on the bottom side, pathing up towards top side. So, we'll have to see where Tian gets his impact first early because you talked about top esports playing out the lanes. Could just be about the counter ganks that Tian has to play towards.
I mean, for Shun, it's very much trying to play around bot side. Like, feels like that's your one spot to really try and get onto this Renata and make her life a living hell. As you can see, Lucas though.
Nice and early. Little loyalty program here from Mark as you get the passive once again, and it's actually a better trade from top esports. Lucas went a little bit far.
Yeah, the big thing here is that, like, when Lucas hits level 3, you're actually going to have a ton of engage to get on towards Mark and make it a little bit more difficult for this Renata to operate as
they hit
both sides.
Yeah, nice easy handshake. You get the stun running into Wink. Half HP. Severum available, but still for IG's bottom lane, precariously low this early into the game.
I stunned for the night. But the fact that you've got the contest here from Wink and Lucas is really impressive. Like, you have the double range. There shouldn't really be an opportunity for you to contest this push, but Wink and Lucas are actually doing a really good job of actually getting control over this bot side. Now, it should mean that, in theory, JackeyLove and Mark might actually be able to freeze this inside their own tower, which makes it difficult for Shun to operate, but not outright losing this. I mean, Wink and Lucas are playing this really well.
still pushing into the bottom lane for now. Look at where junglers are. Xun is down towards his bottom lane, and you can see that Tian on the other side of the map. So IG feeling pretty confident at the moment as they continue to push in. And every time Handshake doesn't connect, Mark loses a tool to get Lucas away from him or push him back onto wing. I'm looking at CS now, Dagda, just seeing how the lanes are setting up. Knight with the 5 CS advantage. Top side as well in a decent position. In fact, as the wave pushes into turret, I mean, Knight's in a great angle as Yuekai uses this opportunity to get a bit of a deep board here in the early game.
I wasn't actually sure if Yuekai might have looked for the roam there, try to see if he could actually make it down towards the spot side. Not going to Tian in mid, though.
Dagda, I see a horse, and I cheer because Tian in a great angle. Scout of the week, he's actually just outplayed it. Now running for the binding Yuekai, this is beautiful. Xun's in for the knockup, the flash first blood. This mid lane jungle duo better than top esports apparently.
So well played by Yuekai, getting that snap back right at the moment that he needed to, so he gets completely knocked the other direction. And for Knight, tries to flash forward, nearly gets the kill, but means he's completely caught out. Now, once more, we're seeing these mistakes from Tian and Knight start to give the advantage to Yuekai and Xun.
Again.
Like, look at it here.
Go, Dagda.
It's just super easy. Yuekai goes forward because he knows Xun is waiting in the wings. Tian does get the damage off, but because Yuekai is already knocked back, or sent himself back, it doesn't matter. And then Xun, just great follow-up here. Knight not expecting the flash forward, but the wind becomes lightning, so ends up getting hit by that and goes down.
These underdog teams today, Dagda, I don't know what's in the, in the coffee cups, but 4 and 9 versus a 9 and 4, you have to start thinking, well, numbers don't matter at the moment. Placements don't matter in the LPL. The underdogs are striking fast today. It's a 200, 300 gold lead. Yeah, about 300 at 5 minutes into the game. Xun gets first blood here on the Xin Zhao, and we have Yuekai in a pretty decent position considering he was down in CS and still is for the time being. But Dagda, the point stands that IG's early games have been pretty good in this series to continue rolling with the same thunder.
Should now try to see if he can make the play on Wayward, though.
Okay, well, he doesn't have flash available. It's going to be a 1v2 dive. He flashes away. Wayward's dodged everything. Zika not taken up, but Xun is. We get a 1-for-1 as Yuekai cleans it up. Zika's trying to get out of there, but he won't escape with his life. It's a 2-for-1 trade, and IG just doing the same dive top esports did last game.
It was so close, but Yuekai wasn't in position to follow up, so 2 kills now back in favor of top esports, and Yuekai in trouble.
He is. Has to dodge away from the scout of the week. We get a distortion, and out he goes. Lucas moving to the mid lane to help out as well. And for IG, the dive, Dagda, I guess you'd say semi-successful, but we now have a kill on Wayward and Tian to match.
Yeah, but JackeyLove and Mark, because you have Lucas moving mid, they're going to get a turret plate themselves bot.
Yep.
You can kind of see the domino effect starting to come through where because Yuekai leaves mid, Lucas has to cover, then you end up with the 2 kills going across the top side and you're losing bot side. So now top esports with the pressure on bot looking to get the vision control in on this other side of the map, and Zika might even be in trouble, but knowing that Knight was there, he will just kind of ward himself out and everyone backs him.
Yeah, good little ward at that as well to spot out if the dive comes through, but let's look at this one again because IG, it was Wayward's fancy foot that helped a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Wayward has been so good in this top side, even throughout this series, and Tian just able to eke in the auto attack right before Yuekai is able to pop that blast cone. So just a bit unfortunate, but top esports will kind of wipe the brow a little bit, getting some of these early kills back, getting a little bit more of that pressure from Wayward, and Wayward can really start to bully out this top side of the map now, especially with the serrated dirt already completed, whereas you're looking kind of a bit of a higgledy-piggledy mix of items picked up for Zika in that top side as well.
No one likes higgledy-piggledy. Unfortunately, they don't really know what it is. So I will say, top esports solo lanes winning lanes handedly now, and you pointed out the item differential. You pointed out Wayward here, who's at about 15 CS over Zika. I want to also mention that we've got mid at a 15 CS lead as well, and a kill now onto Tian. Handshake dodged away from nicely by Wink. And further to your point, Mark and JackeyLove, because of their access to turret plating, if only one, they're able to help push top esports to a 1k gold lead here in this early game. Tian is going to die this Dagatron, and I'm all about it.
I don't know if I am, though. I'd rather he didn't. You don't really have the tankiness to survive this. Like, maybe if you can get the ultimate from Mark, but that's not even in a position. And now it feels like you've kind of half committed to this bot lane play, but Tian is now resetting. This gives IG control maybe to go for this Rift Herald on the top side. And I thought that this was maybe just Tian like, hey, look, we're going to like help you push in bot and then we all go for the Rift Herald. But that doesn't seem to be the plan either. So Top Esports not really sure how they want to achieve their goals in this game. So.
Maybe you've seen too many Tian dives and you're right. You know, game one it gave us something and I don't know, maybe I just want to see the world burn apparently because but Top Esports dives have not been in their favor. Well, when they were executing it at the very least. Mark making a roam here. Kind of interesting to see. Scatter the Week's there. Support just moves. JackeyLove makes the movement as well. And Dagda, it's because Herald's up and available. They start committing the bottom lane. All hands on deck for this one, which seems to be a big deal.
JackeyLove is playing Secret Agent, though, hiding where he's going to be positioned on the map because he doesn't know if he needs to be bot side in case Wink tries to push in or if he should be up towards the Rift Herald. Now, though, IG will fully commit to the bot side, especially with Zika taking that nasty trade from Wayward. So Top Esports will get Rift. JackeyLove will move back bot to collect the wave. And Top Esports kind of get to take this for not a huge amount of punishment from IG.
I mean, Shun's going very aggressive on the pathing. The fact is JackeyLove took a safer path himself, so props to the AD.
Oh, no.
But Shun at the ready, now spotting out. There's a crescendum here for Wink. Lucas with a ward to see the solar flare. JackeyLove needs backup. We need a UAV in the bottom lane because IG are at the ready getting free plating every second.
Kind of need a Predator Strike to clear out this wave because that's going to be 3 turret plates already taken in this bot lane for IG and Top Esports now. We'll eventually get the reinforcements that they need to push them back, but I mean, nice response there from IG. Managing to get the 3 plates that Rift Herald was going to give Top Esports anyway.
Yep. So again, Top Esports here in this early game, at the very least, let's take it up to the top side. 3 plating's taken in response, so they stay in the gold lead for now, but you mentioned the Herald being taken here for Top Esports. That, but now the gold will be equalized a little bit. And an early game that has been very focused on trading sides, Dagda. We have an Eclipse up in that top lane. I'm expecting Wink to be able to get close towards his Mythic next back as well. And it does feel like for now, core members of IG are Wink, are Yuekai, and how they play this early game versus, well, a Syndra Knight, a Knight Syndra, a Scout of the Week, and Yuekai flashing away. Onslaught of Shadows, use the juke. Nice, but red buff gets the burn. Tian locked up, and Lucas says goodnight. A little bit deep for his own good as Yuekai tries to juke again.
Yeah, Lucas able to get those reins onto the horse and take him down. So 1 for 1 again with Lucas, but a nice roaming time. But you can see Zika has given up on this top lane. He knows that he isn't going to be able to hold on to the turret plate. So instead, he's just going to use it to try and steal away these camps on the opposite side. And I'm not sure how I feel about this. I mean, losing out in this wave and top is not going to work out. You can see Wayward is kind of confused. He's like, he's got to be here somewhere.
But he's backing behind enemy lines. Wayward, he smells something fishy. And Shun, they don't know he's backed. Wayward's still just checking each brush. Where is Zika? Well, he's not in that one. So I guess he backed, question mark. And Wayward's still like, I don't know what's going on. He's so confused. Games.
I mean, Wayward is like, just being paranoid. He's like, you know what? There has to be a problem. Why am I being allowed to hit this turret? I shouldn't be allowed to hit this turret. And Zika's just like, you know what? I just was like, going to give it to you, but now I get to come back and I got a blue ball.
Now he's happy again. He's like, there's my top laner. And suddenly Wayward becomes aggressive again, confident. Lucas is moving up here, but changed his mind last minute as Herald goes down in the mid lane. Yuekai once again trying to baffle out Tian, but as Herald gets placed on down, hit the eye, hit the eye, hit the eye, it's down. A smite goes through. Herald does not give the charge, and Dagda. Now that makes for an interesting tale considering IG traded for turret plating, let's ignore top, and are actually not too far off gold with the Herald unable to achieve its goal.
But that was like the last place I wanted to see that Herald used. Like Wayward, you could have used it to just solidify this tower for him, but honestly Wayward's going to get it himself anyway. I would have loved to see a bot side. Like, use the fact that you have the Dragon up, get some gold in towards JackeyLove, really accelerate this bot lane for yourself. And then you can turn it into a nice, easy play over towards Dragon as well, because Wink and Lucas will have to give up the bot lane turret. But instead now, you have the amount of defense coming through from IG. They're the ones now getting the Dragon. And, I mean, look, for Tian, this really hasn't been the best of series for him. Like, decision-making wise, we saw it really go away, or fall apart in that game 1. And now in game 2 as well, just weird decisions around some of the positions that he wants to take.
And Dagda, let me kind of be the Nanette Manoir from Angela Anaconda for a second. and you know, be a bit of bad news bearer. I feel like Tian has been on and off. Like, there's been some amazing games in Splitters looking at the top side. Wayward still battling down, but further to my point, you don't see Tian in that world's class form consistently. We saw Xiaopeng intro a couple of the games earlier in the season, looked amazing, then kind of fell off as well. And top esports are just trying to find their groove. 7 wins should be a bit of a groove, but here against IG, I don't see it as Lucas is moving in, but Zika way too low. And there's still a lot of questions about this jungler who, despite being 2-1, Dagda has made you question him in yet another game.
And I think IG are kind of showing me, you know, what would happen with top esports in the best. When you're actually able to prepare for a team, this is what I'd expect to come out against top. Being able to go, right, game 1, they're going to go for these weird invades. Let's make sure we're prepared for it. See it again here for IG. Lucas has been doing a really good job of being the one that matches Tian's aggression in the mid lane, making sure that he's able to support Yuekai, and they're keeping it in check. The biggest problem for them, though, is that you can't prep for Wayward. Like, this is why we've been praising this guy so much. If he gets the counter pick, he's able to absolutely dominate in these side lanes with basically no jungle pressure. Like, he's had very little attention this game, which are looking at a 20 CS lead, a full tower down, and this is why Wayward has been such an exceptional performer on top.
I mean, he was the carry last game, but he just couldn't get his foot off the ground because the whole of top esports was burning. This time, Dagda, you're right. He does have more than his foot off the ground. The turret open, Wayward in a great position. Zika can't do too much here on this top side. Without his mythic, while Wayward continues to stack up his tier with the Eclipse already picked up, I'm seeing numbers on the bottom of the screen. Dagda, just give me a second. I'm going to try and read the Mandarin. That character means shall. That means small. And that has 2600, and the graphics gone. Okay. Well, what did you get out of that one, Dagda?
918. That's
okay.
What
I got 2600, and I hope, you know, someone knows what that means. So there you go. Could be CS, shall meaning small minions, but 2600 CS is a bit much. So I'm gonna pause on that. Could be gold, anything. Ignore me, chat. Don't worry about it. IG on the Herald. And Dagda, I need to bring up a very revolutionary fact in this game that's important. As top esports push down bottom for the tier 2, IG have 2 dragons. They've now got the Herald as well. Even though gold is so against them in favor of Zika won't come through, they're diving a Gwen. Solar Flare to buy time, and yet he's still going to die this early in the game. It doesn't matter. As JackeyLove having a field day, the flash away, Lucas survives. I was going to say the objective takes are going to be big, but hey, props to top esports for keeping it going.
I mean, Zika should not have defended that turret. There was 4 members of top esports there. You have no hope in hell of surviving that. IG, though, looking to answer. Top tier 1 is going to go down in a second. Our mid tier 1's already gone. Like, at least for IG, they do get 2 towers back. And at least with the way top esports have kind of set up the map right now, they can't currently use the fact that that bot lane is exposed. They'll need to try and get down this mid lane instead, but we'll have to see if they'll be able to do that, as we're just getting the replay on the bottom right. Flash burned from Wayward.
I believe Dagda was actually the bottom right. I think. Oh, no, I actually don't know. Wow, am I that bad? I can't even remember if it was left or right. Maybe I have a goldfish memory. You know, flash burnt, though. That's what I'll take away from it, Dagda. Wayward had to burn the flash, and that means that he can't pick up his 2700 minion, unfortunately. So he's going to be down a bit on the stats.
Bad times.
Yeah, I know. A wink with a good little gravitum. So we return to normalcy. And here, Dagda, in 45 seconds, we have the 3rd dragon. And I was trying to set up before that IG have a bit of a win condition here, that they are starting to stack some of these neutrals early on. They don't have a Herald. Where did the 2nd Herald go?
They used it mid. That's how they cracked up the mid turret. But the big thing for me is first mythic not completed for Zika. Wayward, watch Wayward. We are going to get 1 accelerated shock blast. Thank you, Yuekai, for my demonstration. He hurts. It's like a goddamn truck with these 2 items. So for everyone on IG, that's going to be the signal fire to be like, hey, you know, maybe we don't fight the dragon. Let's try and trade inside lanes instead.
Yeah, give Gwen some of that CS up at the top side. Nothing really set up to push onto one of the next turrets. Lucas hanging over the wall as top esports are pivoting towards the right side. I love this pathing, and I love that Scatter the Weak and Rocket comes through. Once again, Wink fills the brunt. Top esports have done their setting up for the dragon. And look, IG don't want a part of it, Jack.
Yeah, they're just gonna go and take over control of top esports jungle in this top side instead. Like, just trying to cross map. Just nice job from top esports. I think top esports are kind of realizing, hey, look, our siege is really damn strong.
Yeah.
So as long as we kind of have Wayward, who's got this big lead from self-controlling sides, we can group up as this 4-man unit and just continue to put pressure into IG, whose wave clear really sucks because of the short range in their composition.
IG not even in position to do anything about it. Lucas hanging and angling. He's angling. I don't know. I sound like a weird Australian.
Anchoring for it as well.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know how related we are, Dagda, with our language. I'm sure to some people who don't know an Irish accent, don't know an Aussie accent, I'm sure, do you reckon they get us confused?
Oh, 100%. I mean, so many people were like, I don't like the two Australians casting together. I'm like, here, I don't know if I should laugh or feel slightly offended.
I mean, I've seen things like people are called you Scottish, I think Welsh.
Yeah.
What, English? I think someone's called you English. And yeah, to Australia, I would be offended.
Australian as well, yeah. I've been called American, and that one was a real surprise to me. I was like, you know what?
Oh, you sound so American.
Yeah, like, there's enough that you should probably reconsider there that this accent is definitely not American.
To be fair, when I hear, like, because I know over in the LCS, like, you hear a Zale, and my partner, you know, knows Canadian accents, as Yuekai might be in a bit of trouble. Good little dodge away. Tian and Knight going here for the mid laner. Unleash power available. Press the R button and scatter the weak to the death. It's top esports with the duo building up more momentum in this. Dagda, point being, knows how to spot Azale's accent, but I do not. I think they sound the same, but I'm wrong. And I guess top esports are right with how they're playing this game as we go to a little replay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Yuekai cut out completely. I will say, though, I always feel bad for people who are like, I really like your accent. It's such a nice Scottish accent. And I'm just like, no. I'm like, I don't want to be like a mean person and correct you, but it's really not. But either way, we'll move back into this game, away from the accents. Because I think for top esports, this is way more confident. This is what I wanted to see from them throughout this series. Like, you end up with a good draft for them. We talked about the 3 winning lanes. They powered through their 3 winning lanes, I will say reasonably well. I won't give them full marks on that, but now they're kind of like into the mid game where they're comfortable. Like, again, it's like Wayward pushing sides. No one can really deal with Wayward at the moment. And just try and use Nice and JackeyLove to group up, create siege options, and every so often, if someone ends up overextending a side lane, as you can see, it's very easy for Tian and Nice to recognize.
I mean, again, even through mid, look at this. Solar Fleet used to get out, scatter the weak at max range. Death Rocket, a cheeky dodge from Wink, and he needed that, but Tien's still running him down. Peekaboo over the wall, onslaught of shadows. He's so deep, Tian. Rest of your team ain't here, but Knight to clean it up. Lucas over the wall. This is a chance for Invictus Gaming, but they've built the space. No one's here. Finally, we see the Renata ulti as bailout works wonders for Knight. He revives, and Yuekai late to the show. Even Zika's down, and top esports, they just got overrun with another awesome fight from top esports.
That could be Baron, though. That's 3 members of IG dead, and top esports agree. They're just going to run on over and go, thank you very much. Quick picks in the jungle will do us nicely. You can see there, Yuekai trying to see if he can get something back by pushing into this bot wave. They know that top esports are going to be taking the big purple one.
And we're starting to see top esports in a much better place than we did in game 1. Dagda, replay means you play.
And look, again, Knight and JackeyLove, we talked about them just grouping up, the long range they can use, and Wink, unfortunately, taking the brunt of that damage. Tian, unfortunately, the onslaught of shadows that he doesn't instantly pick off Wink, but it kind of ends up playing out for IG, because he just baits Lucas and Shun to overextend here, thinking, hey, maybe we can get this kill, maybe we can get the turnaround, but they don't realize the entirety of top esports are in that jungle, and this Renata doing work to keep the 9-1.
Now I know. I mean, I knew the priority for Renata's ulti with the hostile takeover was allies, then other enemy champions, then you. But apparently, wards come before enemy champions.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Minions. Yeah.
Okay, they count as minions. Thank you, Dan.
Voted as minions.
Oh, now we know. Hey, Yuekai, that's a fake one. That's a real one. Flashes over. Tian's all about it. Good night. Well, Knight gets a kill, and now they're on top of Tian. IG actually trading 1-for-1. He's deep again, and Wayward's in the middle of a Gwen. What's her name? It's not Glenn, that's for sure. An ultimate at the very least. IG over the wall. It's Mark here with a hostile takeover. It was a good song, I will admit, but for Top Esports, looks like their gameplay a little bit better. Knight does it again. He did that in the finals with the max range scat of the week. A triple goes over to that big, bad Wayward. And Top Esports, they're back on top here in game 2.
So we have a place in Ireland called Glen the Loch.
Oh, yeah?
Glen of the Two Lakes. And that seems about the cavernous difference
Scotland.
between these two teams. In Scotland, yeah. Actually, well, to be fair, like Scots Gael and like Irish Gaelic is actually quite close to each other. So I'm not sure. Maybe they're very similar words.
For a lake in Scotland.
Yeah, I don't know if they use Gaw as like 2, because we kind of do it as like Paindo tree 1, 2, 3. If you want to say like I have a cup of 1, it's like a 1 Gaw 3. So like it goes a little bit different.
Right.
But, yeah, so it's like if you want to say one person, it's like dinner a 1. If you want to say 2 people, it's like God dinner. So it ends up a little bit funky. But either way, coming back to this very cavernous difference between Top Esports and IG in this game. Top Esports look like they're back in form. I mean, and now they're going to kill them again.
I mean, Tian goes deep every time, and he gets caught out, but IG, to trade it back, uses everything. For a red buff, do you want to die? Yuekai jumps in, but Knight, once again, onslaught of shadows, scat of the week. It all comes rolling down. Invictus Gaming, you've taken down Tian, but what did it cost, Dagda? Everything.
Yeah, the ace coming through for 2 members of Top Esports. And it's the 3 carries on Top Esports that are still alive. So they can very easily look to break open these turrets. 2 minions with the Baron buff. And it looks like Top Esports will spread their love around the map. Make sure they're able to get as much as possible off this play. Top Esports, they're looking angry after game 1.
They are, and this is a good way to stomp out any of the doubt after game number 1. It's the Knight show once again. Tian as well, recovering quite a bit from the trash talking we gave him earlier on. And as Knight pushes down this turret, it's going to be an 11,000 gold lead here at 25 minutes into the game. Replay, Dagda. Again, Tian is just like the battering ram.
I mean, this is just Tian, like, beautiful onslaught of shadows, and you just don't have the damage to follow up on this. You don't even have JackeyLove here for the majority of the fight, which is why it kind of takes a little bit of time for Top Esports to be able to return the favor here against IG. Also, just the fact you got the MC Hammer there, where you're able to absorb so much damage as Shun and Zika, but eventually, Top Esports will win out. Now they've got 2 dragons to their name. The base is in shambles here for IG even, and Top Esports, they're just going to put attention up potentially towards the top lane turret here, but why bother when you've got 2 exposed inhibitors in mid and bot?
I mean, it's Lucas who just hopes someone walks up to the top lane. Top Esports on the complete opposite side of the map, and you know, this kind of feels like how we felt against Top Esports in game number 1. It was over. Dagda, it was done, and you know, again, for Top Esports, this one's done in their favor. IG hoping for that pick, but look at them grouped up, everyone together, controlling vision deep in the enemy jungle as they push in for yet another inhibitor turret. Rather, inhibitor. It's IG on their last legs before the game goes down to kaput to take us to number 3.
Nice.
Okay, Solar Flow's down, and there we go. Flash down for Knight, but doesn't matter. Tian's running in. This horse wants to look amazing.
Well, I don't know if he's going to be able to. I mean, might be galloping gracefully through the field, but there's not much field left because Top Esports, they're just about to end us.
One Nexus turret here, Dagda. We need to see IG pick something. Gwen is coming out of the base, and Zika, as Scout of the Week hits his allies. Wants a needlework across everyone, but the damage still just doesn't seem to be enough. That's so much poke coming through. Top Esports playing with their food here, Dagda. Or maybe they're just in a farmyard, in a vintage, in a wine cellar, and they're drinking every single bottle they can get their hands on. Wink burnt out again. Tian rampaging, and Top Esports heard you were talking smack as Onslaught of Shadows. Wink dodges out. The bailout helping too. JackeyLove revives again. Mark with 3 successful ultis, 3 successful bailouts. That's all he needs here on Renata Glasc, and Top Esports needed their own momentum to bring them back in this series.
Yuekai watching in horror as his team and base is decimated. Top Esports were taking no prisoners that game. You can see that as they walk off, Stoke in that win. they know they've got to do it one more time.
Well,